Hey everybody, this is Darren Van Dam and you're watching Flick Connection, the show that helps you get more out of movies, but today we're going to be talking about all the best movies and shows Netflix is going to be adding in October 2021. So yeah, we're 3/4 of the way through 2021 already. I know it's hard to believe, but Netflix is going to be adding quite a bit of stuff this month, including a couple of horror movies. It is Halloween month, so I'll be sure to get you prepped for that. If this is your first time to Flick Connection, welcome, but what we do in these monthly episodes is talk about everything coming to Netflix in chronological order. So we're going to start with everything they're adding on the first, which is mostly where they're adding a lot of the stuff you've heard of, but this month they are adding a couple of originals on the first. Then we'll work through the rest of the month that mostly consist of all the new stuff that they'll be adding. And all of these are listed in the top pinned comment down below this video. Just scroll down there, take a screen grab with your phone, and then you've got the full list of everything to carry with you for the rest of the month. But without further ado, let's go ahead and start with everything of interest they're adding on October 1st. Starting with one of the most interesting Netflix original movies of the month, The Guilty. This is actually a remake of a foreign language movie that I have recommended on the channel multiple times. You can currently catch it on Hulu, but the Netflix remake stars Jake Gyllenhaal, who is a fantastic actor. I think he's going to be a good pick for this one, and it seems like they made some changes, but essentially the setup here is he plays a 911 operator who receives an incredibly distressing phone call, and you spend the entire story with him in the dispatch center. And at first it may seem like a gimmick, but I can tell you from the original movie, which is quite good, in fact it is beyond exceptional, that this gimmick is the best way to tell this particular story. I will go ahead and warn you, the original is very intense despite the fact that you don't really see anything on camera other than the main actor. It's still grim and intense. Not quite sure where the story is going to go with this one, but I will also point out this is directed by Antoine Fuqua, who is most famous for Training Day, but he has directed a ton of really great movies, but I will say his movies are hit and miss. Hopefully this one's a hit. They're also going to be adding Oats Studios Volume 1. This is something else I've recommended on the channel multiple times. It's its first time coming to Netflix though. This is a collection of sci-fi shorts from director Neil Blomkamp. This is his production studio, and these are some of the highest end sci-fi shorts you're ever going to see because they're really designed to show off the capabilities of his special effects studio. And they are great. They've got some big stars in them. They're short, sweet, but they're really rich and layered and have a lot of incredible visuals in them. Sci-fi fans, I highly recommend these. It's as long as a movie, but you're gonna get 3 shorter, I think 15 to 20 minute-ish narratives, and I love all of them. Speaking of sci-fi, they're also gonna be adding Eagle Eye. I did not mean for that to rhyme, but this stars Shia LaBeouf and Michelle Monaghan in a sci-fi thriller that involves some government surveillance, and it gets really intense. Now this is somewhat of a crowd pleaser. It's not super edgy, it's PG-13, but considering all of that, it does stand out. It is quite good. It's a lot better than a lot of the other sci-fi movies that have been made for mass audiences over the last few years. Project X is about the ultimate high school party. In this movie, a group of kids decide to throw this huge party while their parents are out of town. Doesn't sound like anything special there, but this is shot kind of like a found footage type thing, and the kids throwing the party are not necessarily the cool kids, at least they aren't when the movie starts out. And this movie is interesting because of the way that it was produced and the way that it was shot. It feels a little voyeuristic, like you're watching something real, but at the same time, you're really just watching a high school party comedy. It's just done in a very different style from what you normally see in that genre. Till Death just came out this summer. It's already coming to Netflix on the 1st, and it is the first Megan Fox movie I've been interested in probably since Jennifer's Body. In this one, she wakes up handcuffed to her dead husband and then has to escape a couple of burglars for the rest of the movie while she's handcuffed to her husband's bleeding corpse. Interesting setup. Even if it's a mediocre delivery, I'm interested in this one. It does have pretty decent reviews on IMDb as well, so I'll definitely be checking this out the first week of October. They're also going to be adding The Cave. This is from the early 2000s. It's kind of a Descent knockoff. I don't think it's nearly as good, but if you like The Descent and you're looking for a decent Halloween watch, not a great one, The Cave is pretty decent. I just don't think it's going to be making it onto any of my horror movie list, which are soon to come here in October. Forever Rich is a Dutch language Netflix original that may have dubbing by the time it releases, but the trailer does not. However, this is about a rapper with a tough guy persona that gets mugged and humiliated and then spends the rest of the story trying to redeem himself somehow. This is billed as a comedy, however, the trailer looks quite intense. I'm sure it has funny moments, but it looks like a pretty tense thriller. It definitely looks like it's right up my alley, so I'll be checking it out. One that I probably won't be checking out, but this is a service video, and I want to at least let my musical lovers know that Diana is a musical coming to Netflix October 1st, based on Princess Diana. It's definitely not made for people like me, but if it's made for people like you, congratulations, it'll be there on October 1st. And if Diana is not your bag and you like dark documentary series, they're adding one of those too. A Sinister Sect is a new crime series, I guess we're gonna call it, but it's about a group of Germans that set up a colony in Chile following World War II, and it sounds like dark, creepy stuff. I'm definitely gonna be checking it out, at least to get some information on the subject. If you didn't know, there were not just Germans, but a lot of Nazis that escaped Germany after World War II, and a lot of them went to different countries in South America and other places, but there are still entire towns and cities that are mostly made up of descendants of Nazis and Germans. Not all Germans were Nazis, but that is a thing that happens in some South American countries, and this one sounds like one that went pretty bad, so I'm gonna be checking it out because I love the true crime stuff that Netflix has been putting out. And then finally on the 1st, the big thing that they're adding is the entire series of Seinfeld. Get out! I am someone who grew up watching Seinfeld. I can't even count how many times I've seen every single episode, so I'm not that excited about it coming, but when it gets late at night, I probably will dabble and put on some of my favorite episodes. If it's been a while since you've revisited Seinfeld, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be tearing it up on Netflix this month. Alright, now we're going to jump to October 5th, and then I'll be telling you about everything leaving Netflix this month, but before I do that, I do want to tell you about today's sponsor, CyberGhost VPN. Like all VPNs, they keep your web browsing safe, secure, and private, but the reason I keep promoting them on this channel is because you can unlock Netflix and a bunch of other streaming services in a bunch of different countries, meaning you can not only access all of this stuff, no matter where you are in the world, you'll be able to access everything on Netflix in Germany, Australia, the UK, Canada, France, no matter where you are in the world, and there's vastly different things available in each country. CyberGhost is super easy to use. They give you a 45-day money-back guarantee, which I know they honor because they also have 24/7 customer support. It's incredibly easy to set up, but if you don't have a good tech brain or maybe you have a device that's a little bit wonky, they're gonna be there to help you get it set up. But speaking of devices, you can use it on up to 7 different devices simultaneously, and it's all the different types of stuff you're already streaming movies on, and you can get all that for as low as $2.19 a month. It's an incredible deal. Go to the link in the description below and get access to way more movies and shows than you could ever possibly hope to watch for just a little over $2 a month. Again, incredible deal. Links down there in the description and the top pinned comment, which also has the full list of all the movies and shows I'm talking about, so you need to go down there anyway. But if you click that link, you'll get to see my smiling face again. But let's go ahead and move on with the rest of October.
My urn will force you to confront your deepest, darkest fears.
On the 5th, they add Escape the Undertaker, which is an interactive WWE experience. It looks like this could be a fun interactive Halloween watch for WWE fans. Then on the 6th, one of their bigger horror movies getting released this month, There's Someone Inside Your House.
911. Hi, the killer's here. He's wearing a mask on my face and he's forcing me to record offensive hate speech and
The trailer for this one is interesting because it looks like your typical teenage slasher flick. Looks like it's done kind of in the vein of Scream, where it is intense, it is scary, it is violent, but it's also a little tongue-in-cheek and silly. Not as much as a horror comedy, but that's at least the vibe I'm getting from the trailer. In other words, it looks exceptionally basic. They're also going to be adding an Ella Fitzgerald documentary and season 8 of The Blacklist if you're still watching that show. On the 8th, they add A Tale of Dark and Grim, which is an animated series for kids about Hansel and Gretel. I shouldn't say about Hansel and Gretel. It's obviously going to go in a very different direction, but this could be a fun watch for the kids during the month of October. Obviously, it's not going to be too scary, but it should help get them in the Halloween spirit. Continuing with the Halloween spirit, they're going to be adding season 3 of The Movies That Made Us, which is a fantastic show. Each episode focuses on a different movie. They tell you behind the scenes stuff, things about how culturally significant it was, and all sorts of just interesting things you might want to know about some of your favorite movies. And season 3 is going to include the original Halloween, as well as Aliens and a handful of other movies that are non-horror related. October 13th adds a Spanish language Netflix original drama thriller thing called Fever Dream, based on a best-selling book by the same name. I don't know much about this one. There's a very sparse synopsis. The trailer looks incredibly interesting. It's got beautiful cinematography, and while the trailer starts off pretty slow, it goes in a dark, creepy, twisted, potentially somewhat psychedelic direction. So this is definitely something I'm going to be checking out. It looks really, really good. On the 15th, they add season 3 of You, which is a serial killer series. You can currently catch up on season 1 and 2 while you wait for season 3. This could also make for a good Halloween watch, even though there are plenty of scarier things to watch during the month of October. They're also adding The Forgotten Battle, which is a Dutch World War II movie that looks fantastic. Not only does it look great, it has been out for about a year or two, and it has exceptional reviews on IMDb. This is going to be mixed language. There's some English, and I'm not familiar with any of the faces in it except for Tom Felton, who played Malfoy in Harry Potter, which I just started watching those with my son, and I distinctly remember just a week or two ago thinking I hadn't seen that guy in anything in a long time, but here he is, and again, this looks quite good.
We are richer and more powerful than you could ever imagine. Moving right under your noses.
Okay, I'm just...
I bet you'd give good blood.
The 20th brings Night Teeth, which is a vampire movie that I'm interested in, but it seems to revolve around a driver taking these women around to different parties for one night, and they're vampires, other people are. It's got a good look to it, looks like it's a little funny, looks like it's gonna be a good Halloween watch. I'll be checking it out and potentially even reviewing it prior to Halloween. The 22nd adds Lock and Key Season 2. It is a popular fantasy series based on a popular book series. But with it not getting added till the 22nd, you've got plenty of time to catch up on Season 1 if you didn't watch it last year or earlier this year. It hasn't been long since Season 1 was dropped. The 22nd also adds Maya and the Three. This is a limited series. It's going to be about 9 episodes. The animation looks beautiful on this. It is rated Y7, so it is going to be good for the kids, but it looks like it's going to be plenty interesting enough for adults to watch along with. And the 22nd also brings a new Netflix original animated series called Inside Job. Now at first glance this looks like it's from the same people as Rick and Morty. The animation style is very similar, but this is actually done by guys who worked on shows like Gravity Falls and The Regular Show, which are kid-friendly shows, but they're a little intense and very clever. I've enjoyed watching those with my son. And Inside Job looks a little more topical and maybe even a little more crude, so I'm interested to watch it. I'm just recommending you don't have Rick and Morty level expectations for this show. Jumping ahead a few days to the 27th, they're adding Nobody Sleeps in the Woods Tonight Part 2. Part 1 came out last October, right before Halloween, and was just a fun, campy watch. It is foreign language. If you enjoyed Part 1, I see no reason why Part 2 shouldn't be equally as good. However, it's not one I'd highly recommend, but if you do like foreign language horror movies, especially silly ones, this is potentially a good one to go with. I just wasn't that big a fan of Part 1. The 27th also adds Hypnotic, which is a mystery thriller type thing. Looks like it's pretty intense. This is about a woman who goes to a hypnotherapist who appears to be, from the trailer, a total creep, which is never a good idea. This actually stars Kate Siegel, who is in a bunch of Mike Flanagan movies like Hush, Absentia, but also The Haunting of Hill House and Midnight Mass, which just got added to Netflix. And then this is not a Mike Flanagan project that she's also in. I've liked her and stuff. So this one's interesting, but with it getting released right before Halloween, I doubt it's one of the ones Netflix is particularly proud of this month. October 29th brings a big budget Netflix original movie, and then we'll talk about everything leaving during the month of October. But Army of Thieves is essentially a prequel to Army of the Dead. This movie revolves around the safe cracker character from Army of the Dead and seems to take place amid the initial outbreak, meaning this was a heist that went down prior to the events of Army of the Dead, and this one actually interests me quite a bit. Longtime subscribers know I gave a somewhat lukewarm review of Army of the Dead. There were a lot of things I liked about it, and I felt like it fell flat in a lot of other ways. However, this is a much smaller movie that will feature zombies, but not nearly as much. It's produced by Zack Snyder, not directed by him, and it revolves more around the heist aspect, so it's actually got me more interested than Army of the Dead. While I don't expect it to be as grand and as spectacular as Army of the Dead was at times, I do expect it to be kind of a fun heist movie to watch right before Halloween. With that though, here is everything leaving during the month of October. I've gone ahead and highlighted my top picks. If this goes by too fast, you can pause the screen, but first-time viewers, please note, the date listed is not the last day you can watch it. It is the date that it is going to be gone, so be sure you try to watch the ones you're interested in prior to the date listed. Again, just pause the screen if you need more time and refer to that top pinned comment down below for the full list of everything I just discussed. Be sure to help me thank the Patreon supporters while you're down there. They've done a great job of helping keep this channel running. During this crazy couple of years, we've all been dealing with a lot of stuff, but these guys have been there for me. If you're interested in becoming a Patreon supporter or a channel member, there are links in the description below, but I will keep making these videos as long as you keep watching them. Thanks for checking out this special episode, and you will see me on the next one.